My name is Shakira.
My name is Yolanda Jordan.
My name is Femi Alabaye.
My name is Tiana.
My name is Whitney Marie Anderson.
My name is Kailyn.
Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Bianca Springer.
My name is Yolanda Jordan. I am the doll designer for My Pretty Brown Doll, where I do specialize in brown dolls with natural hair inspired hairstyles. I do also run the space which I call My Crochet Life. Specifically on Instagram, you can follow me in both places. If you're interested in the dolls that I make, it is at My Pretty Brown Doll. If you are interested in how I do run my crochet business, you can get more information on that. It's mycrochet_life on Instagram. Of course, there's mycrochetlife.com and myprettybrowndoll.com. So you can find me in those places as well. If you haven't figured out yet, she is a crocheter for life. Like, crochet is my main craft. I pretty much don't do anything else. Like, it's crochet, and crochet. So I first started I learned how to crochet from my great aunt when I was 7 years old. And I crocheted for quite a while. I really didn't stop crocheting until I got to college and started doing college things that did not include crochet. But I did pick it back up in 2011. At that time, I was known in these internet streets as Don't Get It Twisted Crochet. And I mainly focused on making hats and scarves. I switched over to being a doll maker, solely a doll maker, in 2015, and then I started doing it full time in 2017. So I've been doing it full time for over 3 years now. But I've been crocheting and selling my work since 2011. And like I said, I learned from my great aunt, and it was just something to do with her at the time, and I thought it was cool. The other part of it was I was definitely in awe that I could make something with my two hands. It was always amazing to me, wait, I did this, I made this. And so even when I was just making hats and scarves, I always felt wow, there's somebody walking around with a hat that I made or a scarf that I made. And that was absolutely amazing. When I decided to focus solely on making dolls, specifically brown dolls, it was because I did not see it. And it was wow, I don't see a lot of dolls that look like me out here available for people to make from patterns or to even purchase as finished dolls. And so that was kind of the driving force behind it. And now it's kind of I feel who can do me better than me? Instead of asking other people you should make brown dolls, I'm no, I'm going to make brown dolls because I get to tell my story from my perspective, and who better to tell my story than me? Now, here's the thing. I made this for an earlier collection for LoveCrafts, and we get to use this design again. And so I'm excited about that as well. But this was my Oprah inspired design that I made for LoveCrafts initially. She has a little microphone too. Let me see, her little microphone wanted to come off her hand, but she has a little microphone. And so this was my Oprah inspired design. I love this design. First of all, she's a little bit smaller than the dolls that I normally make, but I love her hair. This is the first time that I've used this technique to do hair, and I love the way her hair turned out. It is a Oprah inspired design, and I just wanted to kind of, focus on, my focus was definitely on her hair, but of course on her beautiful smile, making sure that she had this microphone. Even though she no longer has the Oprah show, we know that she is still a mogul in the TV world. And so I just wanted to represent her in that way. I love her little body shape that she has, her little shapely legs. But her hair, if you can't tell, is my favorite part. Thank you, LoveCrafts. I certainly appreciate you including me in this collection, as well as with all the other makers. I am certainly honored, and thank you. And I hope y'all enjoy making this design.
My name is Femi Alabaye, and I am the creator of Fela and Friends Handmade Dolls. My social media handle is @Fela and Friends, and you can find me on Instagram, and I also have an online shop on Etsy and Big Cartel. My main craft is handmade dolls. I make black dolls for children to play with. I started making dolls when I had my daughter Fela, who the brand is named after. It was mainly to get her some more black dolls. I found it really hard to find a variety of black dolls, and that's what inspired me to start making dolls to increase representation and diversity in the toys that my children play with. It was mainly for that reason. It was because there was a lack of diversity in the toys and books and things like that. And that was my main inspiration for making the dolls, was to increase representation, and not just for Black children, for all children, because I think it's important when teaching diversity that our children see different types of people in the things that they play with and in the books that they read, the things that they interact with. So that was my main inspiration. The dolls that I've made in the Black Makers collection are the Marcus Rashford doll. Marcus Rashford has recently been in the news talking about free breakfast for children, which is quite inspirational. Also, my husband is a Man United supporter, so it was quite fitting actually. But it's important that we see more of our sort of role models speaking out about issues that affect them, and that can affect change. So that was quite inspiring to make the Marcus Rashford doll. The second doll that I made was the Chadwick Boseman doll in the style of Black Panther. Recently, we heard of his passing, which was very sad. But before he passed, he was such a great role model, bringing Black characters to life. One being Black Panther itself, where a lot of children got to see a Black superhero, and he played many more inspirational characters, and it was very, very inspiring to hear about all that he was going through while he was making these movies. So I was very, very honoured to make that doll in honour of him as well. Being a Black maker, I find that it's very important. It's very crucial for us to have more representation, for our children to learn about loving themselves, seeing themselves in toys, in books, in things that they watch, and also for teaching others about different cultures, different people and backgrounds and where they come from. So I think it's very important to have more Black makers. I think it's very important for Black makers to have a space. I personally enjoy creating. I enjoy putting things sort of to craft. When I started making dolls, I had no idea how to sew. I taught myself on YouTube how to sew, how to put together patterns, how to create dolls. So that was a wonderful learning curve for me. I'm a very creative person at heart, so I enjoy creating things and getting materials and putting them together and having a doll at the end of it. And that's one of my favourite parts of the process is seeing that, those pieces of fabric, those pieces of materials come to life.
My name is Shakira, or as I'm known on Instagram, @CreativeShack. I am a multi-crafter and I specialise in embroidery and printed textiles specifically. I've always really been a maker since I was in primary school. I remember always drawing and making things as a child, and I've really just never stopped making stuff. I've gone through many different types of careers, working in retail to working as a holistic therapist as well, and also in education. And I've always bounced back to my craft. At the end of the day, it's the one thing that fulfills me, it makes me happy, and it nourishes my soul. So I always come back to my craft. And in the last, 4 years, I've really been more consistent with it and just focused on it completely. And I'm happy for doing that. I was responsible for making the Stormzy and Monroe Bergdorf embroidery pieces. It's been an amazing experience to be able to be a part of this collection, particularly just really nice to be able to turn these iconic figures that we have in our industries now, representing Black culture, and turn them into modern embroidery pieces, because I suppose when people think of embroidery, they just think of their grandma's embroidery. But when you have like modern figures like this being turned into embroidery pieces, it just makes it a bit more approachable for people to want to dabble in the craft itself.
Hi, I'm Anna, also known as Lovey Stitch, and I'm an embroidery artist. I first started making at 9 years old at school. I began with knitting. I've been doing embroidery art for about 2 years now, almost 3. I make to bring my ideas to life. I love how I can create tangible objects out of my designs, and I love how much detail you can put into embroidery. It's my favourite bit. I've embroidered a portrait of Laverne Cox for the Black Changemakers collection. Laverne Cox is such an inspiration for the Black and trans community. I really feel honoured to sew a piece about her. And with everything going on in the world, I wanted to increase the visibility and protection of Black trans women. I'm incredibly grateful to be able to sew such an inspirational person.
Hi, my name is Whitney Marie Anderson, and you can find me at Whitney Marie Anderson on Instagram and YouTube. My main craft in terms of what I do most is crochet, but I'm a multi-crafter at heart. I also knit, sculpt with clay, create jewelry, embroider, and a few other things. I officially started making at age 7 by watching my mom crochet. I basically taught myself watching her make the stitches. I gave it a try, and it took off from there. After that, I learned to knit. I learned to sculpt, and basically any craft that I see, I want to try. Creating brings me joy. It's the feeling that I get from turning ordinary supplies into something that tells a part of my story. Also, being able to share the things that I make brings me joy. For the Black Changemakers collection, I made a crochet pattern for a amigurumi Michelle Obama. After learning that Michelle Obama took up knitting, this project became even more special to me. This entire collection means so much to me because not only do we get to highlight these important, iconic Black people, as creators, we get to represent them in our own special way.
Good day, everyone. My name is Kailyn, and I am the content creator and fiber artist behind Third Wind. Well, I make because there's no true alternative. I feel compelled to make and to make often. If I'm not making with fiber, I'm often making things around my home as far as DIYs, and it's just a part of who I am. Well, this collection means so much to me because it means that for once, perhaps in our lifetimes, we're starting to see Black agents of change be portrayed in a favorable light, and to be a part of this collection and to be a part of that movement and that conversation is just pivotal for me as a young artist, or as an artist young in her craft, and I'm just excited about the possibilities. That started about 6 years ago in regards to fiber, but I've always been a serial crafter. I just love getting my hands in there and doing a DIY and just having fun.
Hello lovely makers, my name is Tiana and I'm a buyer here at LoveCrafts. I'm also the owner of Tia Ellis Designs, where I offer lettering and modern calligraphy services. So I make everything from handmade cards to wall prints, wedding stationery, and some people will call it illustration, but I like to call it serious doodling because that's what I think it is. My style is definitely very modern and fun, but takes influences from classic calligraphy styles. I love crafting in general, and sitting down to make anything is just the best escapism, which I'm sure a lot of you will agree with. It's really fun, but it's also a really mindful thing to do as well. I think the best thing about it is just seeing the things that you've made for someone and their reaction. It's the best feeling, probably the reason why I keep going. So for the Black Makers collection, I've made 2 illustrations that will be available as downloadable colouring pages, which is really fun. They feature Tiana Burke, who started the Me Too movement, and also Patrice Cullors, who's the co-founder of the Black Lives Matter movement. This collection honestly is everything. Representation is so important, and it was just a real honour to create something lovely to make that was inspired by 2 great Black women.
I'm Bianca Springer, and you can find me at Thanks I Made Them. I am a garment sewer who likes to experiment with machine embroidery, hand embroidery, quilting, fabric painting, and anything else that comes to mind. There's a long tradition of making in my family. My mother made everything we needed for school uniforms, home decor items, costumes for plays and productions. Whatever I needed, she could whip it up. Sometimes with patterns, sometimes without. I would sit with her and she would make. She would guide me and give me direction on what needed to happen next, and together we learned to make. My making fell off a bit when I went to college and moved away from home. It wasn't until I became a mom myself and had a baby girl that I'd get back into sewing. Making fabulous little items for her was such a joy for me. It was a wonderful way to reconnect with a craft I had long forgotten. I enjoy making with my children, and I am so excited that they are going to be contributing to the next generation of makers. I make because I feel I have no choice. It is a compulsion. I feel like it's a way for me to express myself. I've used making as a way to protest, as a way to take risk and experiment, as a way to process anger, as a way to grieve. I've used making as therapy. It's a way to increase visibility from my marginalized group. I make because it connects me with other people. It connects me with myself. It connects me with my roots. It exposes me to new ideas and new concepts. I make because there's no other choice. I've made Colin Kaepernick for the Black Changemakers collection. I think it's so important for us to honor our icons while they live, to show them that we appreciate the work that they're doing. It's important for us to bring the flowers to the living. So often we don't celebrate people until they're gone. And I think this collection is an opportunity to recognize them now and help them to see that we see them and we appreciate and honor the work that they're doing. It's also a great opportunity for people who may not be familiar with some of these icons to do some research. It's an opportunity for them to learn more, to get to understand the struggle and challenges that Black people and Black makers face on a day-to-day basis. I think the visibility of this collection is going to be phenomenal. The fact that people will now take a moment and think about who these people are, what they're doing, to investigate why the simple act of taking a knee is so controversial, why it's such a polarizing topic. The collection will force us to look more deeply and introspectively about our position on race, our position on police brutality. Why do we have to ask someone to treat us with dignity and respect? And why is that such a polarizing concept? Why is it so difficult? Why is it so hard to say, don't kill me? I don't understand it. And I think the discussions that will come from this collection is going to change people. It will change people on an individual level, and I hope it will change people on a global scale.